How's it going? My name is Michael, and this is a collection of 3 strange and odd tricks that we've taught on the channel. Learn how to push a coin through your hat, how to transform one card into another, and how to link 2 wristwatches together. These are all just some strange ideas I've had that I wanted to contribute to Magic, and so I have them in a compilation here. So if you're a more active watcher and you've seen these before, that's okay, but this is just another place that they're all in one spot for people to check out if they haven't seen them before. So if you like Magic content like this, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a new trick tutorial. Drop a like if you like this, but without further ado, sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy learning these tricks. Welcome to ChopCap. This is one of the free tutorials that I've been most excited to share this year. In this video, you're going to learn how to make a coin go up through your hat and then back down through your hat. In the demonstration, you also saw some extra moves and intricacies that allow this to be a full routine where you end clean at the end. To learn the sleight of hand that I use for those elements, I actually have to push you in the direction of Eric Jones and his collective EP. If you learn the hat routine on that, those are the moves that I can't teach in this video, that if you learn those from him, it will kind of flesh out this routine perfectly. What I'm contributing here is the moment that the coin goes up through the hat and the coin goes back down through the hat. And if you combine that with what you may already know from that project, this creates a nice little routine. And there's other crediting that I will put in the description of my version of this upload on my YouTube channel. But let's get into this. Did you know that you might be in possession of a chop cup in the form of your hat and you didn't even realize it? Now, of course, it may not be able to do everything that a true chop cup can do, but it at least has a property to it that a chop cup has that you may not have realized. And that comes in the form of this little top part. This here is a normal coin. But when I bring any object that has a magnet inside to the top of this hat here, it will actually attract to it and be held up by it. You see that? And that is the central secret to this nice little illusion, is just the fact that some hats have a magnetic top. So go to your closet right now, come back to this video, grab some hats and hold a magnet up to them. That is how you will test whether or not this will work. So for example, this hat will not work. This magnet won't go to it. So for me, this is my perfect hat because I didn't even know when I bought it, but this will actually attract to magnets. So that's the first thing you need, is find a hat and examine the top with a magnet, and you'll know which hat you can use. The second thing you need, like I said, is any object with a magnet in it. So magic stores sell objects like this. It doesn't necessarily have to be a coin, although that is common. In your own possession, you might have just a normal magnet that you can crumple up into a dollar bill or a receipt. And then just by using a duplicate dollar bill or receipt or piece of paper, you can set this up. And there's other kind of modern chop cup effects that use that, but that is an option you have available to you. Just to be clear, there are objects called shim objects that have metal in them that would be attracted to a magnet, but they are not themselves a magnet. They don't have a magnet in them. You want to make sure you're not just getting a shimmed object, but an object with a literal magnet itself inside, okay? Just to clarify. So you have that object, and then you have a duplicate normal object. So to do the first penetration, you're going to have the normal coin or object already placed ahead of time in the hat, and you'll want to look back at the performance video to see kind of what your angle recommendations would be, so that they're seeing the back of the hat and not the inside of the hat until the moment that you make the penetration occur. Then with your magnetic object, you're going to hold that under the coin. And of course, the idea is going to be that it's going to get loaded here onto the top of the hat, and that's where it will stick. Okay, so you're here minding those angles. You're holding this in your hand. I'm using it in my subordinate hand. I'm left-handed, so I'm holding it in my right hand, and I'm holding the hat with my left hand. You're hiding that angle until you come down, and you're gonna contact that coin on the top of the hat, allowing the magnet to stick it. And that's when you angle up toward the audience, so that that transfer of kind of that object permanence, they go from seeing the coin underneath to seeing the coin on top. And then the convincer is when you're able to take your hand away and show your hand empty. That's the first part. So again, from the top, you're gonna hold this more toward yourself so that they don't see the coin. As you're holding it up, you display the magnetic coin, and then you come down, you contact the top of the hat as you angle down. That's gonna display the coin, and then you come away for this moment, which is the convincer. So right now, at the end of the first phase, you're in this situation. You have the normal coin displayed in the hat, and you have the magnetic coin underneath here on the hat. Getting to pull your hand away and show it empty is a great moment you want to kind of milk for this routine. And then you can pull out the other coin. After you've pulled out the other coin, you're going to take it, and that motion is simply to come down into the hat, and you're going to start to lift the hat, but you're not going to angle it up too much. If you angle it up too much, they're going to see the coin. You're starting to come up, and you're just going to really kind of, you're going to have to slap it hard, and you're going to push down hard into the hat. And when you push down hard, it's going to release this coin because of just the blunt pressure being applied. It's going to make the coin drop. That's when you can kind of lift your hands, and that way they're seeing the back of the hat and the side of the hat, and they're not looking directly into the hat. This will have dropped to the floor, and for the rest of the routine, that's where it will then connect to what we can learn from Eric Jones. But for the 2 penetrations, that's really all you have to do. You have to have the normal coin loaded ahead of time, mind your angles, come down and let the magnets do their thing, and you're going to angle it down toward the audience, show your hand, display the coin, and then hard push it through, which will release this coin, and then you can pull the hat back up so that they're not seeing inside it. When you're practicing this, you'll really want to pay attention to how strong your individual magnet is going to be, because between magnets, between props with magnets inside them, that is going to completely determine how much pressure you need to use to launch this coin off the hat when you're making the coin go back down through the hat. As shared before, this really is an angles trick. So this might be one where I think you could do it close up at a table, but you might even in that situation need to back up a little bit. Also take into consideration the fact that this is going to fall all the way down to the floor, because reasonably you can't really have someone put their hands underneath it to catch it. I know in close up and street magic, that's always a great moment, is if we can have the audience close up and holding things, but this is unfortunately not so much going to be the presentation for that. But I do still think there's value to the close-up and street kind of environment for this, because I mean, you're wearing a casual hat and you can pull off a visual penetration effect with it. You just want to be really mindful of those angles when you are practicing, just in the same way that you have to be mindful of angles when it comes to different varieties of magic, coin magic certainly included. Another element to consider in performance is the fact that because this is falling to the floor, how do you want to present yourself? Do you want to just bend over and pick it up? Do you want it to drop into something? I think that's something you can consider, although that is going to steer it more toward parlor and stage, right? If you're having to maybe have it drop into a glass, that could be really cool. But then at that point, you're probably not doing a street or close-up style performance. So because you are making it go up through the hat, and then really because you're making it go down and this is going to drop to the floor or table, you just want to imagine that you're probably stepping back just a little bit so that they can see both of those moments and so that your angles are covered. But now you know this principle and just this little sneaky thing that your hat potentially may already have. But let's say you've looked through your hats, you've watched this tutorial, and you don't happen to have a hat with this property. Next time you're out shopping, just carry around your magnetic coin or object, and when you're trying out hats and you're looking at them, just give it a quick test. Don't be weird about it, obviously, but this is a pretty minor thing to do. You can just test the hat, and that'll let you know before even buying a hat and committing money to it if it will work for you to try out this trick. Wanted to take a moment to give a huge shout out to our channel members. I am super grateful for you guys. If you're a more recent channel member and you don't see yourself, don't worry. I just schedule these out a little bit ahead of time. If you're interested, you can join at the supporter tier to get exclusive badges and at the insider tier to get videos ahead of time. That means you're learning tricks from this channel before anyone else. We also have merch on this channel just to showcase your love for the art of magic. Might even be a helpful way that someone sees like, oh, you're a magician. Would you show me a trick? It can kind of be an on-ramp for that for you. And there's also some sneaky items with card reveals. And if you know, you'll know what to do with that. And last but not least, I made this journal for magicians where you can recap performances. You can also visually track what's in your pockets, kind of your pocket space management. Just a helpful resource for you that you can get on Amazon. And of course, consider subscribing. Those are just all ways to support me, but hopefully add value to you as you enjoy some magic. But with all that said, let's get back to the video. What's up, guys? I am stoked to share this secret with you today. Under this King of Diamonds, there's a few things going on. So we have the card that gets vanished is cut out in this way. I did like a little trapezoid. And then this King of Diamonds is taped to another card. And the rest of that 5 of clubs is just taped onto that card as well. So it creates like a little puzzle piece, right? And then when these are taped together, none of the queen is actually taped to any of the King of Diamonds. The queen is taped to this piece of the vanish card, and then that piece is taped to the king. So they are only connected by that one little piece. Does that make sense? So this plays upon a principle that does exist in other aspects of magic, of almost creating like a pocket that you have within a card. But the way we're using it in this case is to hide this card. You're able to like kind of shake it around and it just kind of falls into place. And that's all due to that puzzle piece coming together. Now you can experiment with different shapes to cut into this card, which I certainly have. The reason I like the small trapezoid is, look, you can almost get as much of the card as possible before you expose it, which means you also don't have like an entire edge being exposed. I think one way I used to do it was more of a reverse, where I had it cut here, had a jut out, and then cut here, but then you can't show this much of the card. So this is great. Now it is 3 cards thick, and that's just always going to be the case with this gimmick. So you do have the thickness factor and even potential discrepancies with a paired card. Like if you did this with a joker, or as I've done it with another king, you kind of always have that situation, right? And so handling is going to be very important for this. But how cool is that? Like if you have a deck of cards right now and double stick tape and scissors, you are done. Like you could make this right now. It'll take you 5 minutes. So let's talk about all the potential things you can do with this now that you've made your cool little gimmick. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe to the channel to become a part of the Hobbyist Magic Club. And if you want to dive even deeper, consider joining my free Patreon membership or picking up some merch from the store. So something interesting about this is, because this card is contained within here, you have kind of this factor where you can't show it front and back when it's in a sandwich position. What you can do to get around that is this little subtlety where you can display the card and then turn over and show it and then go back. Okay, same thing goes from the front. If you're holding it in this way, you obviously couldn't show that or it would reveal it. So you can just kind of reference it. And this is, I feel like this kind of plays on 3-card Monty, different moves like that, where that turnover, you kind of hide the fact of what's going on. So if you want to show both sides, you can show here, and come back. Then you're going to hold it in a way where, like in my hand, I'm left-handed. If the cards are going from left to right like this, from bottom to top, then when I just kind of glide my hand over, gravity will it'll just nest that card into place, which is super, super cool. You can also vanish it on the table, which I think is a huge advantage of this. So it is a slow change. It's not a visual change. That's where you get your elastics and flaps. So the advantages of this are what you want to play to, is that you can make a very clean display. You're not having to hold pressure on these cards, right? It's just sliding into place. Now, if you want, and I believe this replicates some sort of illusions that you're able to do with maybe arranging normal cards in certain ways. So I think that principle is out there. But with the gimmick version, you can show this one side and then have a card appear. It's a little more subtle. It's not as like wow factor as I would want it to be, but it is there. So sometimes a limitation can become a strength, right? So you show the two kings and a card appears in between them. I don't know. It is what it is. You can have another card hidden under the card and do a very simple card change. And so that would look like just loading it all together. You can show it front and back since we have that extra card this time. And then you can do the vanish in the same way and show the card. So because this is a thick card, remember to square up and just use the other card to your advantage. So not displaying this card on its own too often and displaying it under the other card. So for just a chill performance where you're just showing people, I think you can come under and you have a lot of play here with like a pinky break, and you can just bring it out like, hey, I have a stack of 3 cards, right? Here's the card. You make it vanish and then you go from there. But let's try to take this a step further. So let's say you force that 5 of clubs and then you do a more normal sandwich routine. But let's say you've revealed a normal 5 of clubs and you're just keeping that gimmick hidden for now. And so you can do that. You can maybe do 1 or 2 phases of that. Then you're going to talk about reversing it. So when it comes down to it, this can be the final phase of a sandwich routine where you put the real 5 of clubs on top of the deck, and then you're going to place the gimmick card on top. And you're going to act as though you're coming over and putting the 5 of clubs in between them again. But what you're really doing is extending the gimmick and getting into position. So now the 5 of clubs is here and you have the gimmick loaded with the 5 of clubs, and you can turn it over to have it placed in the spectator's hand. So this is playing on, actual coin turtles and, scotch and soda idea. If we can place it in the spectator's hand, that's going to be great. So then you do need to get this card to go face up into the middle of the deck. You could also, palm it into your pocket or a card to wallet if you want to go that far. So then you can put a lot of heat on this where you have them gather up the cards themselves, just have them square it up. And then you do need to come over. That's a limit of this gimmick because it's still a gimmick, but you can come over and just display the cards. And then we can go to the deck or your pocket or wherever you've now loaded the card. And that's a good final twist for a sandwich routine. So do be careful. There is some trouble you might get into if you get it in a spot where it won't square up. I guess the main way that happens is if this side intersects or collides with the piece that it's running into. And so if you have it down here, it won't coalesce. So you do have a lot of play, but just be aware of where the gimmick is and keep it relatively straight. That way you can do this. But it is fun to, I think an advantage of this is that you don't have to be perfectly straight. You can kind of display it like a normal human being, and then you just get into position and you can square it up. Even if it's a little angled beforehand, you can still square it up from there. In this video, you're going to learn how to link the spectator's watch to your watch right in front of their eyes, and then immediately give their watch back to them and your own watch for them to examine. This is examinable linking watches, and if you want to know how to do it, just keep watching this video. Welcome to Linking Watches. Crediting and inspiration, as always, will be in the description of my upload of this video, but this is just a fun idea I had that I wanted to share with you. Let's go ahead and represent this watch over here as the performer's watch, and this watch over here as the watch you're going to borrow. With your watch, the gimmick is very simple. You have an added duplicate long strap. Now you'll notice these aren't even perfectly duplicates, but you can get away with it just fine. So this is going to go in the pocket of your subordinate hand, and I'm going to show you all the mechanics of how you ring this in and out. You're going to invite your spectator to take off their watch, and you're going to have them examine your watch. When they're examining your watch, you're going to retrieve this from your pocket, and you're going to hide it in your hand like so, where it is bent back on itself so that it can flip out to be in this position. So you're just going to hold it there, hiding it while you're checking out their watch. You're then going to trade watches back, give them their watch back, and hold on to your watch. And you're going to hold your watch upside down, and this is the move. You're going to come in with the band, and you're going to fold it in some, as you come out with the other band. Okay? So this band folds in a bit and this band folds out. From here, you will be able to adjust it a bit, but the main thing is that this goes in a bit, this comes out, and now you have this full band. From here, you're gonna instruct the audience member by showing them that you want them to clip their watch band back together, just not over their wrist. So you instruct them to do that, and they're gonna do that. And now you have this setup. You have your normal watch attached to an extra watch band, and this watch band is sort of bent in a bit on itself. While they are putting this together, that's going to give you a chance to just adjust this so that now the fake band is over the top. So you're holding your watch like this, you're going to come over with their watch, and here's the one kind of dirty moment, like many linking ring effects, is you're going to come behind the gimmick, and here's how I'm holding this. I have my thumb here on top so that this can clear. I allow this to come over top, and I'm using kind of this hand to cover. There's one moment where you just have to move this thumb up and out of the way. That's kind of unavoidable in this current makeup of the trick, but you're moving that thumb up and out of the way so that the watch will clear, and you're going to be able to hold it again and let it drop. So a little bit of that choreography is sort of visually, at least, inspired by like how Patrick Kuhn puts his rings together when he does a linking ring effect. It's kind of that idea, you're using coverage in that way. You're able to drop them down and show that they're linked together. You want to ask them to hold their hand out, and here's the cleanup. You unlink the fake band from your watch. You have them hold their hands together, hold their hand out so they can catch it. You show the only way to get it out is to unclip it, and you're holding it like this, as you can see. And you're going to let it slide out, or you can pull it out into their hand. The moment it lands in their hand, this is your cleanup move. You come up with the watch, come over the fake band, release the real band, bend the fake band back down. Now you're in this position. Slide the real watch out and place it in their hand. Ditch this in your pocket. With this one unexpected item, you're going to be able to essentially carry with you a card through window style effect wherever you go. Forgive the camera quality, I just need my phone for this trick, but we'll get back to it in a moment. Just go ahead and say stop, doesn't matter where. Here, all right, this is your card, all right? Go ahead and place it back in the deck. In fact, you could shuffle yourself. And now look, I got my phone here, and dribble the cards on top. Get those all mixed up. And if I just press down right on top, I can actually get your card to pass not only through my phone, but actually into my phone's back protector. That's tempered glass, your card inside. Option number 2, we can have your card selected, just say stop, and this time you can present it where you actually make the card seem to vanish from the deck and reappear, not where my cat is, but under the phone, just as another way to present this as a card to impossible location. So welcome to this weird and hilarious, but honestly kind of cool little phone idea I came up with last year. The idea, as always with a lot of magic tricks, is just coming up with new ways to put the selection in an impossible or interesting location. And so I picked up some of these normal screen protectors, as these are tempered glass. And so the first idea was actually to put a card under the screen protector, placed down, and then revealed. So that's one thing you can do, but of course, if this were your phone, you're stuck with that. So it's not very usable as an EDC. So I have also picked up this. This is a tempered glass screen protector for the back of your phone. So I guess it's not really a screen protector, it's just the idea of anti-scratch, keeping your phone protected. So it is a little weird, you know, I don't know as many people that use this as people that use the normal screen protector, but if you want to keep your phone, you know, more functional and not have anything caught on the front, this is something you can look into. So you place this with a card underneath it on your phone. Now in my phone's case, the card being underneath removes a lot of the surface area that would be stuck to the phone normally. And so what I did in the demonstration you saw was I actually double stick taped the back of this card to my phone, and then I stuck this on top. So yes, it's sticking to the card, but it's mainly sticking in this top area. So your mileage will vary, but I encourage you, this is fun to try out. Just pick up a pack of these tempered glass screen front and back protectors and play around with this idea. See what you can do by getting a card under the screen protector. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe to the channel to become a part of the Hobbyist Magic Club. And if you want to dive even deeper, consider joining my free Patreon membership or picking up some merch from the store. From there, your presentations can run wild with anything you're used to. So if you want to make it feel like, more of a true card through window, you could maybe do like what I saw. I'm particularly coming to mind right now is from Wayne Houchin. He had like a card through bag. Just in terms of presentational style, you could dribble all these over the phone and then slide the phone out, and it's like the card has penetrated through the screen. But if you want, you could also do the more transported idea. I did a card force, and so shout out to Cavan Booth on his YouTube channel. He shared about using a second deal as a card force. I'm sure plenty of others have talked about that, but he shared some good ideas about the mechanics of that. So anyway, if you haven't tried it before, try using a second deal as a card force. So you have the card on top. You can also be pretty casual and pretty lazy in terms of how you're not having to be too impressive in it. You can really keel your wrist back because you're just kind of being casual. Kevin Booth talks about this as well. And then they say stop and you have forced the card. From there, I did a Cardini change to change the card, but just for simplicity's sake, if you want to make the card seem to vanish, you of course can do an Erdnase change. And just real briefly, an Erdnase change, you push the card forward a little bit so that you get this lip of a card, and the base of your palm is basically what contacts that. Pulls it around, and it's not even like you're palming it. You're just keeping your flat hand down. Keep your flat hand, and you're going to be able to pivot this card around. You want to slide this card back in, and then you can come around and magically make it vanish. So that's two options for you. Of course, you then reveal it. That's two options for you because you can do the more visual, like pull it out. So that way it feels like a card through window effect. Or you can do more of a card to impossible location style as well. But it's just a fun thing. It's just a fun thing you can pick up on Amazon that I wanted to share with you and let your imagination run wild so you can come up with ideas for it. Let me know what you thought of this effect and what is your favorite card through window, or let's just say card to impossible location. Let me know what you think, but of course I hope you enjoyed. Keep enjoying your magic, stay a hobbyist at heart, be kind to yourself and others, and I will see you guys in the next video.